This morning, police investigating a deadly rampage at this Oregon grocery store.
Response for an active shooter, Safeway East in Bend.
Bend police say at 7:04 p.m., a suspect carrying an AR-15 style weapon and a shotgun began firing in the parking lot outside the Safeway.
There were 10 to 20 shots, and then another 10 to 20 shots. And by that time, I went inside and told my dad to get away from the window, and people were running out.
Once inside, investigators say he moved through the store, shooting and killing another person.
The shooter entered the west entrance of Safeway. When that person entered the west entrance, they engaged one person there and shot that person.
Another shooting, another grocery store situation in America. This up in Bend, Oregon. This is from yesterday. They say a gunman killed 2 people and then himself, as you saw some witness there talking about it as well. Let's get more details about this whole situation, this horrific situation.
When police arrived, they found the man they believed to be the shooter dead inside. This morning, they're not commenting on a motive, instead pointing to a long investigation ahead.
Very large crime scene. It starts in the residential area behind the Forum Shopping Center and then moves to the shopping center and includes that entire parking lot.
The names of the 2 people killed have not been released, nor has the name of the suspected shooter. Now, there was an additional person who was shot, transferred to the hospital. They're being listed as in good condition, expected to survive, George.
So a couple of folks expect to survive, but others dead. So there's some people that are trying, although he has been unidentified, there are some people who are pointing out who this guy probably was. So take this with a grain of salt as possible, but it seems to be the case. So there's tweets out about this guy. He said the mass shooter in Bend today is likely a guy that goes by Ethan Miller. It appears he left a manifesto as well, although this is not confirmed again. He has YouTube videos of shooting his gun and a manifesto that he uploaded today. And it says, if you're reading this, then I'm dead. Well, we saw that happened. It seems that he's been planning this attack for months, as we've seen from folks that do these types of things, writing in this manifesto that was pointing out, and also uploading those videos. So in this manifesto, the purported shooter writes being suicidal and evil and taking full responsibility for his actions. He reportedly planned to carry out a school shooting on the first day back of the school year, September 8th, at the local high school, but he changed his mind because he couldn't wait any longer. Chief Krantz said that law enforcement officials are aware of information floating around social media claiming to be posts by the gunman and said that they're being investigated. Again, unconfirmed at this particular point. We'll see exactly how this whole thing shakes out. But I did see some of these manifestos. And as I bring these back up, just your first thoughts on this, David.
It breaks my heart that why wasn't this guy investigated before he did this? I mean, if people saw his posts, and there's plenty, obviously he's writing this, I imagine there's some things that he was publishing that were crazy. Why didn't his friends or family or somebody say, we've got somebody who's very troubled here, who's got an affinity for guns and glamorizes them and wants violence. Maybe he needs some help.
Maybe. Or help, or someone else is gonna need some help because the things that he's been thinking about and planning, apparently. People always wonder, so what kind of motivations these folks have? Maybe it's political leanings, maybe it's someone that was radicalized because of how upset they are about the state of things. Let's read a few pieces of this. Again, this is allegedly from this particular guy who allegedly is the shooter here. All these things yet to be determined, but I do want to point out that someone did write this, and this is something people think and write online. He said, I want to get a couple things straight. First, I am not a white supremacist. I hate everyone and everything. Of course, he names 4 or 5 different derogatory names for people that he hates. He says, I hate them all. Second, I'm not an effing incel. I don't ever want to be associated with those effing losers. Too late. I simply know that what I want isn't achievable here. I don't have anything specifically against women, although most women are effing fake and shallow. And he says incels are weak-minded men and all that stuff. More. He also talks about how he's changed a lot since he was a kid. The changes started, listen to this part, a little over 2 years ago when COVID first started to become a global thing. God, that still effing pisses me off, he says. I still cannot believe that the entire world fell for that. This is some specifics. Think about the way that we've been told about this. The virus itself was real and deadly, but instead of actually coming up with a real solution to the problem, they, meaning the tyrannical US government, instead used the problem to create mass hysteria and panic among us, meaning the people of America, then forced us into isolation and loneliness for a significant amount of time. So it sounds like he was holed up Didn't like that part. But you see the part where the blame comes for the hysteria and the panic from folks who said, mask up, be safe, keep a distance, stay alive. That was the panic and hysteria? Or was the panic and hysteria people that were saying they're coming to get you? If you put a mask on, they're trying to suffocate you. If you distance yourself from others, it doesn't matter. Go out, continue to breathe on other folks. Did your uncle just die? It wasn't that. It was something else. They're coming for you. They're watching you. If they're gonna inject you with this, it's gonna kill you. That looks like panic and hysteria to me. Not saying be safe, because this is a virus, which we've seen viruses before and we've handled in very similar ways.
Yeah, and all this stuff is fuel for people who are suicidal or dealing with adolescent depression, whatever this guy was going through. I mean, he was able to sort of become even more enraged based on these messages around him. And I'm just surprised there wasn't a good guy with a gun in the store, whatever Republicans, conservatives say, they could have taken him down. I mean, maybe the butcher should have been armed with some sort of assault rifle in order to defend his meat. I don't know. It's just the answer is not more guns. The answer is getting these people while they're troubled. And I just, at some point society's got to realize this. Yeah,
and too many people are worried about, advancing themselves in our political systems and also just in general with money. If it makes money, it gets you political clout, you're great.